In 2011, Wiltshire Council embarked on an ambitious project called Wiltshire Voices, which sought to engage with different groups across the county, people who didn't typically attend our area board meetings or otherwise get involved with the council. The first film we made was about the lives and experiences of women at Tidworth Garrison in Wiltshire, and it's called Army Wives.
The first year that I was an army wife was horrible. It wasn't very family orientated. I didn't have children and I worked, so I didn't get to meet many wives. I was very isolated, quite low, probably one of the lowest points of my life.
I'd only been here about a week and we had a few teething problems with the house and it was all quite difficult. And then my neighbour came round and just introduced herself and invited me to absolutely everything. And that was really good because all of a sudden I knew someone.
You're all in the same boat, you're all moved about, you don't... I mean, people can walk into a group and they don't know anybody, and that's hard, but a lot of people are open to say, oh, you know, come and sit with us, and it is easy to make friends if you put yourself out there. If you don't, then you've just got no chance.
The artillery don't really move about a lot, they move as groups and they tend to do it every sort of 10 years. But for me, it's everyone else leaves me here, like in the last few weeks already about 3 of my friends have gone.
For me, it's every 2 to 3 years that we move. And it's a bit of a pain in the backside sometimes because you've just made a nice group of friends and they're really supportive, and then with 1 month's notice you lose them.
I've done 2 moves. My son didn't handle the first move well at all. I've got health visitors that helped me there. We've moved here 3 months ago. He's still under a health visitor.
The girl that has been my best friend for probably the last 9 months has just moved to Germany. She moved on Friday. My other closest friend who lives across the street is moving today. So it is hard because you make attachments to people and you share your life story with them and then they go and then you have to explain that to somebody else again. Or when your husband's away and you are feeling a bit low, there's nobody to turn to because they've either moved or you haven't met people yet or whatever.
We used to live next door but 3 to the kids' grandma, so it was all family and friends orientated, and then I've moved into it, and my husband is fine, he's got all his friends in the army, and I've moved here and it's the same, he's got his friends in the army and I don't know anyone. It actually feels in the middle of nowhere because you don't know anyone and no one actually talks. So trying to find out where things are, it is quite isolating.
A huge problem is loneliness and boredom. And you know, if you're stuck in a house with 1, 2 kids, or obviously, if you're stuck in a house on your own, then that's a different issue. But from my perspective, you know, you're stuck in a house with a small child, whereas normally Daddy would come home and, you know, be someone else to talk to, someone else for the little one to play with, all of those things. That's gone.
You're either an army wife or you're not. You either can do it or you can't. And there are times where you think you can and you can't, or there's times that you think you can't and you can. But the first couple of years really makes you aware of whether you can do it or not, and unfortunately for the people that can't, it usually ends marriages. So it doesn't matter how much you love somebody, if you can't be away from your family and you can't do it on your own, you're not going to last. And I think that, you know, you either return home to your family and leave your husband, or keep your husband and move away from your family.
You kind of have to run your life as if you are a single mum, even though you're not, because you never know if they're going to be here or not. Because, you know, it's not unusual for him to come home and say, oh, I'm going away next week.
He come back the other day and says he might be going away for 8 weeks. He doesn't know whether he'll be back at the weekend. He's not 100% sure whether he's either going or not.
You know, my husband could come home tonight and go, I'm going to Iraq for 6 months, but I'm going next week.
And you just can't rely on them necessarily to be there, or even if they do have sports afternoon on a Wednesday, they might not some weeks, or might not finish early on a Friday. You just don't know. It's so up in the air.
Basically, I run the house and sort the kids, and my husband works around it. You know, it's hard. It is hard. You're getting up and you're doing everything. and if he's there, he's there. It's a bonus, and if he's not, he's not.
It's hard to plan things as well, holidays and things sometimes, because you just don't know if they're going to be about. You don't know if they're going to be working late on the Friday, what time they're finishing. Can we go away this weekend? You know, have you got early start Monday, or are you in at 10? Because they never seem to know what's going on until right at the last minute.
You just get set in your own routine, so when they're away, and life continues. You can't put everything on hold, and you know, I don't think my son would understand that, so you can't mope around and not be happy and do the things that you want to do because they might be having a rough time out there. You just have to get on.
I don't think we realised that it was actually going to have an impact.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what we were filming to start with, but didn't kind of realise where it was going to go at the time.
But it's had a huge impact, I think. People are really starting to take note, and people are saying, oh, you were on that DVD, and people that you didn't even realise have actually seen it.
Yeah, because it went out throughout the council, didn't it?
It did, yeah. And it's accessible on YouTube now.
Set up 2 new play sessions a week on Wednesdays and Thursdays.
And you're running those yourselves, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's brilliant news.
It's, well, Crafty Monkeys is on the Wednesdays and then Active Monkeys on Thursdays, so more structured groups rather than just drop all coffee in.
And that was one of the things that came out in the film, wasn't it? That there wasn't enough childcare, enough activities for mums and toddlers to do. So you've been doing some other things as well. Can you tell us a bit about your Facebook page that you set up?
We've got 4 admins right now because it needed sort of policing that much, really. We've got 442 members as of this morning. And it's sort of acting, or someone's described it as Tidworth's answer to Google. So it's being used for everything you could ever think of and more besides, I think. Yeah.
What sort of things are mums talking to you about? Because they're using it as a sort of support network, aren't they, while their husbands are away?
Yeah, sort of advice for schools, advice for nurseries, medical advice, telephone numbers, sort of people saying, I've got this rash, and then invariably someone goes, go and speak to your GP, go to your dentist, whatever it could be. Telephone numbers, really, people are sort of saying they need the med centre number.
And also people who are getting posted into Tidworth from further away find out about the site, and they're saying, we're moving to this address, what the house is like,
what the school's like.
And that sort of information was pretty hard for people to find. I think it came out in the film that people always didn't get the information they needed.
So people are moving into Tidworth and they're already aware of all the groups and what's happening, and you know, it's a big impact.
I think if I'd have had that when I moved here, it would have been very helpful.
Yeah, I think people are more willing to now go out and actually knock on somebody's door and say, come to Zoot, or somebody will say, I'm brand new, please can you come and meet up? And they'll say, you know, come along to Zoot or come along to Cheeky Monkeys. It's not just Cheeky Monkeys, it's like the whole of Tidworth, it's got everything on it, which is brilliant. Yeah, there's lots of choice.
Wednesday is at least 3 hours and Thursday is at least 3 hours, and then there's the Facebook page, adding people and the admin in that. And then there's all the prep besides, so on a Wednesday it's not just turn up and do the group, there's things to be cut out first and set up and...
Town Council.
Yeah, we've got the grant for storage. We've had the area board gave us the grant for the soft play to start off with. That was the first one we had, and then the second one has been for £2,200 for the equipment that we need to sort of keep these groups going. We went to meet Mark Francois yesterday, who is the Minister of State for Defence, Welfare and Veterans. and he has invited us to Ministry of Defence in March to give a presentation about what we've been doing over the last year, what impact it's had, and we'd like to know where we've come from, where we're at, and what we'd like to do next. And hopefully if there's a way of rolling it out in the other bigger garrisons.
Well, it's been fantastic because they managed to keep everything going while I was off sick for quite a long while, which then they realised what the skills they had, and they've been really good in organising everything. We've also done a lot of fundraising. We've done bike rides, which they've been part of, and we really would like the wives to be able to come along and do other things other than children, childcare, things.
That's where Jenny organised Nails and Sales, isn't it?
Yeah, the idea is to do sort of more things in the evenings, so maybe cake decorating classes, or body shop parties, just to get, because it's all about the men, I think. When you're an army wife, you follow them around, and it's all about their careers, and it's nice to have something.
But it's about using people's skills as well, so like Anna has designed and got us all to make this, so she said do this, and it's great that she's able to direct people in that way. And Kim's going to be taking photographs later when Santa's here, because she's done some professional photography, so it's just knowing what people are really good at.
We've also got to get the women to realise that they do have these skills. A lot of the army women take a back seat and they don't realise the skills they have got and what they can do, and we've proved what can be done in garrison. We just need to get people together to be like-minded and go for it, just go for it.